Hey guys, it's Becky with the good hair. So, sorry about the lighting. Wisconsin weather is super unpredictable. There was sunshine a little bit ago and now it's gone. But I just wanted to come on here really quickly to rant a little bit about victim blaming, and it just seems very timely because obviously right now when I'm filming was the hearing for Christine Ford, who has come out with allegations against the Supreme Court nominee, Kavanaugh. And I have noticed just a lot of really terrifying comments thrown around, honestly, often by men. And it just makes me really terrified because it seems like something is just not sinking in for a lot of men. And honestly, women too, because it seems like they don't understand the courage it takes for somebody to come forward, and they don't understand the statistics about rape and sexual assault allegations, and they don't understand that, according to many studies, I'll link them in the description below. The studies show that, obviously it can be hard to study this. Obviously, rape and sexual assault are complicated. Allegations are complicated. So many people study it, and there have been different numbers in regards to the percentage of allegations that turn out to be false or made up. But according to the average of studies, it's between roughly 2 to 8% of sexual assaults or rape allegations are proven to be false. That is a tiny fraction when you think about it. That's a tiny fraction of allegations. It honestly is. And that also leaves out the point that many people don't even report their rape and assaults. And if you're wondering why people don't report, I would highly recommend that you check out the hashtag Why I Didn't Report. It's recently become a very popular hashtag on Twitter, and it's so enlightening, and the stories that women and men are telling are horrifying, they're eye-opening, and it's something that people need to hear and need to read. So I would highly recommend, if you don't understand why a man or woman would not come forward with their story and would not report their rape or assault to the authorities, I would highly recommend you read people's stories in that hashtag, because there are many reasons why people wouldn't report their rape or sexual assault. There are many people in that hashtag who said, my rapist was a cop. My rapist was a firefighter. My rapist was a cop and my father. My rapist was a family member. And there are many reasons why people wouldn't report. Some people said, I was honestly ashamed. I was terrified. People I told in my immediate circle shamed me and victim blamed me and disowned me. And that's why I didn't report it. So there are many reasons why people wouldn't report it, but you need to understand that every person's story is different. Everybody's experience is different. Some people are children when they're assaulted or raped, and they don't understand what's going on. How would they even know to report their rape or assault? So there are many reasons why someone would not report. So I just want to get that out of the way. But also going along with this conversation, the Me Too conversation, the conversation about Kavanaugh, and the 3 women now who have come forward at the time of when I'm filming this, I've seen some terrifying takes on this idea. The way people try to excuse rape and sexual assault, the lengths that people will go to is horrifying to me. One of the more common points I'm seeing right now, and it scares me that so many people are throwing this idea out there, but I've seen people say, and I'm not kidding you, I've seen this pretty much word for word, people say, you know what? It's the victim's fault if they don't report it. It's their fault, because if that guy's guilty and if he's really raping people, it's the woman's fault for not reporting it, because she's letting him continue it and letting him continue to rape other women and possibly allow more women to be assaulted and raped. So for the women who don't report it, it's their responsibility to report it, and it's partially their fault if the guy is continuing to rape. It's the victim's fault for not reporting it and trying to get it stopped. Oh my God. If you honestly think that that's like, yeah, nailed it, that's a great point, oh, I'm so smart, pat on the back, blaming women, I would strongly recommend, I'll leave this link in the description below as well, I would strongly recommend that you read the Washington Post article that was published by Elizabeth Bruneg. Sorry if I'm butchering the pronunciation of her name. I will leave a link to her article down below in the description. I would highly recommend you read that article. It's long, and boo-hoo if you don't know how to read, or boo-hoo if you don't like to read. Read every word of that article. Please, I beg you. It is the best piece of journalism I personally have read all year. Honestly, probably in a long time. If you honestly are going to victim blame, if you're going to ask, why didn't she report it? Why didn't she report it for 30 years? Read that article and then come back and tell us your thoughts. Because after that article, I don't understand how anybody could continue to ask, well, why didn't you report it? Any woman who doesn't report it is at fault. If you could read that Washington Post article about Amber Watts and her rape allegations, I guess you could say, but she had ample evidence. If you want to read her story and come back and still blame victims, you are nothing more than a sexist. You are nothing more than a rape and sexual assault apologist. Plain and simple. Yes, rape and sexual assault are complicated. Yes, a tiny fraction of rape and sexual assault allegations are proven to be false. Yes. However, when you are going to look at every single woman and call her a liar, no matter what, just because you don't want to admit that men do this, that's on you. You need to look at the studies. You need to understand that women who are lying are a small fraction, a tiny fraction, roughly between 2 to 8% of the sexual assault allegations and rape allegations. That's a small fraction. You need to understand that the majority of women who come forward are being honest. Yes, a fraction are making it up. It's unfortunate. Yes, it's unfortunate when some women lie. However, you need to understand that's a small fraction. That is not the majority. That's not even half. Roughly 98% of women are honest when they say they were sexually assaulted or raped. So if you're honestly going to look at survivor stories and say you're lying, what if she's lying? Well, if she's lying, then why don't we prove it in court of law? Why don't we prove it through an FBI investigation and find out if she's telling the truth? If you're afraid to put that man on trial, if you're afraid for her to take the stand, if you're afraid for an FBI investigation to take place, you just don't believe women. You don't believe women, and you are a rape and sexual assault apologist. If you honestly want to know if a woman is telling the truth, why don't we prove it in court of law? If you look at the statistics, hardly any of these situations even go to court, even go to trial. If they're even ever brought to trial, hardly any of the men are even found guilty. Hardly any of the men are even put in prison or jail. If you're honestly wondering why women don't report, why don't they tell anybody, why do they wait? It's because there's never any justice, even when they're telling the truth, even when there's ample physical evidence. There's no justice. No justice. So I am really terrified about the rhetoric surrounding all these issues among a lot of men. Way too many men. Way too many men are still victim blaming women, are still under the impression that the majority of women are lying, or more than even half of women are lying, or wondering what they're gonna get out of coming forward and making up a story. I've seen way too many men saying that women just want fame, they just want money, and that's why they're coming forward. You honestly think that the majority of these women, or half of women who even come forward publicly, are looking for money and fame? Don't you think there are other ways to find money and fame rather than making up a story about rape or sexual assault? That blows my mind. It blows my mind that there are way too many men who really are just sexist, misogynist. They don't respect women. They don't listen to women. They think all women are liars. They think all women are after money and fame for coming forward with their stories. It's terrifying. And this is all just victim blaming. It's men not believing women. It's men not respecting women. Men not respecting women as humans. And they just don't want to listen. They don't want to listen. And it amazes me. Thank God, I have never been a victim of rape or sexual assault. I'm just putting that out there. But it can happen to anybody. And I've been harassed many times, probably more than I can even remember. And even something as, in the grand scheme of things, something like just catcalling or just general harassment, even when you tell a guy no, they don't listen to you. If you tell a guy no or to stop, they don't listen to you all the time. And you know why? Even when it's brought to their attention that they're harassing a woman and that the woman doesn't like it and the woman's saying no, they don't want to listen. Do you want to know why? Because they don't respect women. The men who do this, and I'm not talking about all men. I'm talking about men who catcall, men who harass, men who would sexually assault or rape when they don't listen to women and they don't listen to the word no. It's because they don't respect women. They don't want to be told no. They don't want to hear what the woman thinks. They don't want to hear that a woman is saying no because they don't care. They don't care what the woman thinks. They don't care that she's saying no. That's honestly what it is. A lot of these situations are just men not wanting to accept the idea that women are people. Women have thoughts. Women have feelings. Women don't want to be groped by men. Women don't want to be assaulted or raped. A lot of these men are monsters. And they are taught to not respect women. They are taught that women are less. They are taught that women are property. They are taught that women are sexual objects. They are taught that women are just asking for this attention and that women are not going to fight back. And a lot of that is the toxic masculinity that we talk about. And a lot of these misogynists and sexists don't want to even accept that that exists. But in our society and our culture, there is a problem with toxic masculinity. Men being taught that they're supposed to be strong and never show any sort of vulnerability and that that's weakness. And they're taught that they should have power over women and they shouldn't respect women. And that needs to change. So I also want to point out the fact that men can be victims as well. Men can be victims of rape and sexual assault and harassment. I don't want to exclude that. But this needs to change. Our justice system needs to take this seriously. And this is so pervasive with the sexism and rape apology and toxic masculinity that is so present in our culture, in our society. It needs to change. It's atrocious and it's terrifying. And a lot of men just don't give a crap. They just don't care. They want to shame women, blame women, excuse it, dismiss it, pretend it's not happening, pretend every woman's a liar. Newsflash, they're not. They're telling the truth. Only about 2 to 8% of them are making it up. So there it goes, your theory. But everybody's making it up. So I just wanted to get on here and get that off my chest because it's really scaring me that so many men and women are still rampantly victim blaming and blaming women, blaming survivors, and not taking this seriously. I mean, there was even the story of a mom talking about how her daughters could deal with this, and she said she was a Trump supporter, and she said men groping women is not a big deal. And she's teaching that to her daughters. She's teaching her daughters that they don't have autonomy over their own bodies and that a man doing what he wants with their bodies without their consent is not a big deal. That's a devastating lesson to be teaching your daughters, that their autonomy is non-existent, that they don't have a say in what happens to their own bodies, that they shouldn't expect to be respected by men. That's devastating. That's heartbreaking that a mother is teaching that to their daughters in this country. Today in 2018, a mom is literally telling her daughters, it's not a big deal if men grope you. That scares me. That really scares me. And I'll also leave a link to that story down below in the description so you can check that out and see that. Oh my gosh, it's really scary. It's very sad. I feel very sad for those girls. And I hope that they grow up and they learn and they understand that they do matter, that they should expect to be respected by men and by anybody, and that their mom is wrong. I hope that they grow up and they are able to understand that, because that's devastating to be taught that as a child by your own mother. Cameo from a cat. So I think that means that I need to wrap it up. And I'll leave links, like I said, to everything in the description below. And if you like this, please give it a thumbs up. And also make sure you subscribe to my channel. And make sure you click the bell. That way you're notified when I drop new videos, because you never know when that's going to happen. And I will see you guys next time. Hope you have a good rest of your week. See you later. Bye.